Good morning, friends. Welcome to this morning's The Word for You Today devotional. Our topic today is loving and enjoying your children. And our reading today begins with a passage from the Message version of the Bible, Psalm 127. That is what the author of today's devotional decided to go with. And we're going to back up a couple of verses to verse 3 of 127. We'll read verses 3, 4, and 5 today. Don't you see that children are God's best gift, the fruit of the womb, his generous legacy? Like a warrior's fistful of arrows are the children of a vigorous youth. Oh, how blessed are you parents, with your quivers full of children. Your enemies don't stand a chance against you. You'll sweep them right off your doorstep. The story is told of Dr. James Dobson from Focus on the Family, taking his young children on a skiing vacation to California. Coping with two kids who were complaining very, very loudly about how cold it was and fighting over their gloves and their scarves, it was starting to get on his nerves. But on that trip, he learned a lesson that he would never forget. After getting the kids located at the lodge, he says, I parked the car and waited for a flatbed truck to take me back to the top of the mountain. About 15 young skiers were waiting with me. I noticed a girl in her early 20s standing with the others. When she looked at me, I recognized that unmistakable appearance of mental retardation in her eyes. She was behaving strangely and repeating the word whomever without meaning. The other young skiers smiled and rolled their eyes. Then I noticed that the man standing near her must be her father. He had seen the reactions of scorn on the faces of the other skiers. So he put his arms around her, looked down lovingly, and said, Yeah, babe, whomever. The compassion in his voice and his manner seemed to be saying, yes, it's true. She is very limited in ability. She won't write songs. She won't write books. In fact, she's already out of school. We've done the best we could for her. But I want you all to know something. This is my girl, and I love her. She's the world to me, and I'm not ashamed to be her father and to be identified with her. Yeah, babe, whomever. Dobson says that he apologized to the Lord for complaining about his kids, and he looked forward to hugging them at the top of the mountain. That story today brings me back to the very beginning of my days in youth ministry. I was working at a small church in a small town, the church where I grew up, and we had a young lady in our youth group who happened to be 16 years older than I was as the youth director. But she was very limited in what she could do. Her mental capacity was probably at an elementary school level, but Marilyn loved people. She had a big smile, a big booming voice, and she just loved people. And her aunt, knowing that she needed interaction with people, asked if she could be a part of our youth group. And so she was. And we had students who loved on her and accepted her, and Marilyn became a wonderful part of our youth group. But something else that Marilyn did, she was involved with the art group, and the art group would go bowling on Saturdays at a local bowling alley. And so her aunt found out that they needed helpers, they needed buddies, they needed people to keep score, and just to be there and be friends with these young people in the art program. And so she asked if we'd be willing to do that. And Marilyn was one of those bowlers, and since we knew Marilyn, and we thought, okay, this could be something that we could do. And so we decided to sign up as a service project to do this, not knowing what an impact it would have on all of us. And how what we first thought, oh, Saturday morning, I want to sleep in, but I've got to be at the bowling alley at 9 o'clock in the morning. It became something that we looked forward to every time it was our turn again. And while we were doing this thing, being buddies at the bowling alley, we met someone else. A man by the name of Terry Ranieri. Terry was part of that bowling group too, and he was just a bundle of joy. Always greeting you, and always had some fun sayings. And as he lived out his life, Terry became an icon to his entire community because he had such a great love for people, and he loved music, especially the music that came from the local high school band. Now, beyond the bowling alley, we would run into Terry at the mall, usually at the food court on Friday or Saturday, but he would just be hanging around, greeting people, having a blast, and sharing what became known as Terryisms. You'd ask Terry how he's doing. Well, I'm cool like whip, or I'm shaking like bacon. I'm hip like a chiropractor. I'm like bread. I'm loafing. And so he had lots of these. One day he said that he was jamming like Route 30. Now, if you're in Florida, you don't understand Route 30, but you do understand Interstate 295. It was the same kind of thing. But he was jamming like the interstate would get jammed. And before you would go, he'd say, "See you around," like a donut. And that was Terry. And everybody that Terry encountered, he made their day. He brought a smile to their face. And he loved on them, and the whole community loved him back. When he wasn't at the mall, he was often found cheering on the local high school football team. On Friday nights, he would be at the student section and cheering on his beloved Spartans, and he would wait for the band to come into the stadium, and he would march around the track with them, and it was a big encourager of all the kids in the band. When the game was over, he would march with the band back to the school. He would listen to the drum line, and he would be jamming like Route 30. And Terry lost a battle to cancer last August. And in one final tribute, while he was in hospice care in his own home, the high school marching band marched from the school to his home and did a concert in his front yard. And each band member had a chance to say goodbye and to share their love with Terry. And in his honor, they set up a band scholarship. So every year, a band student at that high school will receive the Terry Rainier Scholarship. This young man, who so many would have given up on, left a lasting legacy of love and joy. And so, I hope you remember that every life matters. Every life matters. Bring joy to all those around you, and find the joy that others can bring to you. I'm so thankful for parents that love and enjoy their children, no matter what they can accomplish in the world's eyes, but they bring out the best in them. So thank you, parents, for all that you do. I just want to remind everybody, we'll be in worship this Sunday. We hope you'll join us at either 9 or 11. We've got Hunger Fight coming up on the 18th. 2 shifts, one from 2 to 3:30, one from 3:30 to 5, and we need volunteers for both of those, so we hope you'll be a part of that. Operation Christmas Child shoe boxes are now available. Also, we have the Operation Christmas Child mission trip to Charlotte, December 1st through the 4th. Looks like the cost is going to be $280 per person, and so if you'd like to be a part of our team this year that works at the processing center in Charlotte, we would love to have you be a part of that, and you can let me know or let the church office know. We'll give you more information on that. And one final thing, I hope you'll be praying for our youth this weekend as they will be participating in a youth retreat along with the youth from Reverb Church. We'll be over at Camp Blanding, and so pray that the Lord will speak into our young people's lives this weekend, and we thank you for your faithful support and your love. Have a wonderful weekend. Love you guys. We'll see you at worship on Sunday.